the night, 10-round fight as the unbeaten Xavier Martinez takes on Juan Carlos Burgos, who, of course, has fought for the world title 3 times in his career. It will be a really special night. We're going to talk to the fighters about their fights. We're going to allow members of the media to ask questions. And for those who are watching on Zoom, all you have to do is hit the raise your hand icon there, and our Chris de Blasio will acknowledge you, and we'll let you ask questions, and the fighters will answer those as well. Let's start, though, with the first fight of the night, because you'll have Xavier Martinez, 16-0. He's got 11 knockouts, taking on Juan Carlos Burgos, 34-4-2. He's got 21 knockouts. And Xavier, you know, you went down twice. The last time we saw you fight against Claudio Marrero. What did you learn, I guess, from that fight that we will see growth in this fight coming Saturday?
You know, you're going to see me, you know, stay composed the whole fight. You know, I think, you know, I was winning that fight very decisively. And I think I got a little too overconfident. And, you know, I always call it as I fell asleep. And, you know, being the experienced fighter that he was, you know, he caught me slipping, and that, you know, I went down. But I learned from that, and I'm going to take it into this fight. And, you know, I'm going to stay composed the whole time.
Juan, you know, although, you know, you took this fight really on just a couple of weeks' notice, you know, I read somewhere where you said you don't know if Xavier has a strong chin. What do you believe is your biggest advantage going into this fight?
Bueno, Juan, aquí se trata de que tuviste muy poco aviso para esta pelea, apenas un par de semanas, pero también dijiste que tu oponente no tiene un mentón duro. ¿Cómo te sentís de cara a este nuevo desafío?
Buenas tardes a todos. Sí, realmente me avisaron con poco tiempo de anticipación para esta pelea, pero la agarré porque he estado entrenando constantemente desde enero. Iba a pelear el 27 de febrero en Tijuana. No se dio la pelea. Después me ofrecieron una pelea para el 1 de mayo, tampoco se dio. Y estoy activo en el gimnasio.
Well, you know, the fight was on short notice, but it didn't affect me at all because I have been training since January, really. I was going to fight in Tijuana on February 27th. That didn't happen. I was going to fight in early May. That didn't happen. So even though the fight was on short notice, I am plenty ready to go on Saturday.
Martin Bader giving us the translation. Juan, tell me, what do you think about Xavier as a fighter? I was reading where you said, you know, looking at his last fight, maybe he doesn't have a strong chin.
¿Qué opinas de Xavier como oponente, ya que, como mencionabas anteriormente, lo de que no tiene un mentón duro? ¿Cómo lo ves como rival?
No, es un buen peleador, va invicto. Lo poco que he visto de él, es un peleador que se desenvuelve bien arriba del ring. Vengo bien preparado, como lo vuelvo a repetir. Traía una preparación ya de una pelea anteriormente. Entonces no va a ser factor para mí el tiempo que me hayan avisado, el poco tiempo que me hayan avisado para esta pelea. Sin duda alguna va a ser una buena pelea y pues vengo bien preparado y espero que así como vengo preparado yo, que venga bien preparado para dar una buena pelea.
You know, he's a good fighter. He's undefeated for a reason. And I'm sure that we're both going to give the fans a show, and it's going to be a great fight. But also, like I mentioned previously, I'm coming plenty prepared and ready to give the fans a show like they deserve.
Xavier, how difficult is it when all of a sudden you get a new opponent here a couple of weeks before a fight, and then it's a guy who's certainly got a lot of experience, considering that, you know, he's fought for the world title 3 times in his career?
You know, I don't stress off it too much. You know, in sparring, I actually had a sparring partner that was the same size and kind of fights similar to the way Burgos fights, so it kind of worked out real well. But it doesn't faze me. You know, it makes me more excited. I feel like, you know, it's another big fight for me because, you know, I'm fighting someone who's very experienced, and you know, to make me step up my game.
And you talked about stepping on the gas. You felt like you were winning that last fight against Marrero easily until maybe you got relaxed. What will you do differently in this fight that maybe you didn't do in that last fight that we'll see come Saturday?
Like I said, I'm gonna keep my foot on the gas. I'm not gonna, even though I'm winning, I'm gonna stay composed and stay on my toes because like all it takes is one punch and it changes the fight. So yeah, I'm gonna just stay on the gas and stick to the game plan.
Juan, you fought for the world title now 3 times. One of the raps on you is that when you've stepped up in competition, you've come up short. Why will it be different this coming Saturday?
Bueno, Juan, has peleado por el título mundial en 3 ocasiones y tu reputación es que cuando estás afrontando desafíos muy grandes, te quedas corto. ¿Qué tenés que decir sobre eso?
Bueno, lo que puede decir mucha gente, ¿no? Desafortunadamente no se me ha dado ganar el título. Lo gané contra Rocky Martinez. Desafortunadamente esa noche los jueces vieron otra cosa. Esa noche me robaron el campeonato. Pero estoy listo, estoy de regreso, estoy en mi mejor versión y creo que la noche del sábado lo voy a demostrar.
There is a reputation where, yes, I have come up short, but against Rocky Martinez, for example, I felt like I won the title and the judges just robbed it from me. So I am more than ready to redeem myself and show what I'm capable of this Saturday night.
Fantastic. That will be the first fight that you'll see on the night. And then we go to the co-main. And again, you talk about the 122-pound division. The former unified champ, the baby-faced assassin himself, Danny Roman, taking on the hard-hitting Ricardo Espinosa. Ricardo, obviously, Danny was going to have the experience over you, but do you believe your power will be the difference in this fight?
Ricardo, bueno, el factor experiencia claramente a favor de Dani, pero ¿cuál es tu ventaja en esta pelea?
Bueno, claramente Daniel pues tuvo compromisos o peleas pues más pues de mayor importancia, de mejor ranking. Pues yo realmente pues me siento un peleador pues que está listo para ese tipo de encuentros. La verdad yo siempre había querido pelear pues con alguien pues que me haga ver de que estoy listo. Así que pues de hecho yo estoy listo para esta pelea. Yo sé que es mi momento. Yo sé que voy a demostrar muchas cosas el sábado.
Daniel, yeah, he has fought some really quality opponents high in the rankings, but this is my time. This is when I can show that I can step up in competition and prove that I belong with the best.
Danny, listen, there's been a lot of talk about Luis Nery. There's been a lot of talk about Brandon Figueroa. And of course, Stephen Fulton Jr., who will be ringside watching this fight, about how exciting this division is and those guys getting it on. Last time I checked, you're the former unified champ. You ruled this division. Is this fight too Saturday about saying, excuse me, I'm still here and I still want those belts?
Of course, I'm a former unified champion, and these guys are overlooking me. But you know what? I'm the guy that you got to be at 122, super bantamweight.
You just heard Ricardo say it's his time now. You have the experience, but Saturday for him is about showing that it's his time. What about for you? We saw you not too long ago. How will you be different? How will you be better in this fight come Saturday?
Oh, I'm going against a great like Ricardo Espinosa. I mean, he has a high knockout ratio. I got to be the smart guy. I got to do the smart fight that night. Props to him for taking the fight. But I'm not overlooking my opponent. Anybody's a threat once they get up in the ring. And, I'm just going to have to be the smart guy that night.
Ricardo, tell us why someone who has never fought for a world title will not only beat the former unified champ and become a major factor at 122 come Saturday night.
A ver, decinos por qué alguien como vos que no ha peleado nunca por un título mundial se siente capaz de no solo derrotar a un ex campeón mundial como Dani, sino que también hacerse un factor en la división de las 122 libras.
Bueno, principalmente porque tengo confianza en mí y porque tengo un gran equipo y porque estoy preparado. Me siento pues muy bien, la verdad no tengo excusa alguna, así que pues yo estoy listo. Mientras yo confío en mí y en mi Dios, adelante, lo que venga es bueno.
You know why? Because most than anything, I believe in myself. I have a great team behind me. And if I have faith in myself and in God, then all good things are going to happen from now on.
Danny, I want to give you the final comment here. It's a big night. A lot of focus on Brandon, a lot of focus on Luis, and even Stephen Fulton Jr. What's your message to those guys, to the 122-pound division that Danny Roman's sending come Saturday?
You know, don't avoid me. You know, I'm the guy you got to beat at 122. I'm the former unified champion. My loss against MJ, it was a close fight. I believe I won that fight. But you know what? I respect the judge's decision, but I'm the guy I'm the king at 122.
And then we get to the main event. The WBC title on the line. You've got the unbeaten Brandon Figueroa, call him the Heartbreaker, 21-0, 16 knockouts, taking on La Pantera, the Panther, Luis Nery, two division champion, 31-0, 24 knockouts. This is a guy who had an 11-fight knockout streak that just came to an end. But this should be an all-out aggressive fight. And Brandon, let me start with you. Do you believe your size, power, pressure would just be too much for Luis Nery come Saturday?
It's just in my hard training. You know, I had probably one of the best training camps of my career. I'm ready, more than ready for this fight. And I feel like all my advantages are going to be used Saturday night. And I just can't wait. I can't wait. It's going to be an exciting fight. If I'm excited, I can just imagine the fans. And I'm just willing to put it on the line Saturday night.
Luis? Brandon said, hey, look, he's had the best camp he's ever had. He's ready to show it come Saturday. There were some who wrote after your last fight, maybe the Panthers' power doesn't carry up to 122. So what are you looking to show come Saturday?
Bueno, Luis, la gente está diciendo que quizás tu poder no se traslada a los 122 libras y aquí Brandon se preparó con todo y está muy listo. ¿Qué tenés que decir sobre eso?
Bueno, creo que se están dejando llevar por la última pelea que vieron de mí, ya que no llevé un gran entrenamiento, no fue una gran preparación. Ahora estoy con mi antiguo entrenador, mi poder se va a ver el sábado. No quiero decir nada aquí, pero lo van a ver el sábado, lo van a ver más que nada Brandon, que es el que va a pelear conmigo. Entonces ya después hacemos la entrevista otra vez a ver qué dice.
Well, you know what? I think that you guys are getting carried away just by the last fight that I had where, you know, I wasn't fully prepared and I hadn't trained as well as I wanted to. But you know what? You're going to see that power does translate. Brandon is going to be the first one to notice when I step in the ring with him. And then after I show that, we can do this interview again and you can let me know what you think.
Luis, you said, and I'm quoting you, I have a lot of respect for Brandon, but inside the ring, I'm going to be the rudest person he's ever met. What do you mean by that?
¿Qué quisiste decir con eso? De que
Bueno,
ibas a ser la persona más irrespetuosa con Brandon cuando entres al ring.
Bueno, realmente no puede ser mi amigo, ¿verdad? Es una pelea muy importante, tanto como para él como para mí, es unificación. Es mi peor enemigo una vez que esté arriba del ring. Abajo puede ser hasta mi amigo, pero arriba no lo conozco, entonces voy a dar lo mejor de mí. No vine aquí a perder, no hice toda mi preparación para venir a perder. Sé que tengo un rival duro enfrente, lo he mirado, pero tengo cualidades, tengo todo para salir con la mano en alto el sábado. Sea lo que me arriesgo, pero está bien.
Well, what do you mean by being rude? We can be friends on the ring, right? I mean, outside the ring, I'm sure he's a nice guy. We could even be friends. But on the ring, I am not going to have any warm feelings towards anybody. This is a potential unification fight. Everything is on the line. So I just have to prove what I'm capable of inside the ring and not care about what anybody else thinks when it's time to win.
Brandon, well, you heard Luis said Saturday night you're going to feel the power that everyone has been talking about with this guy. Talk to us about that and what do you think Luis is going to learn Saturday night about Brandon Figueroa?
I mean, he's gonna learn a lot of things, you know. My size definitely. I feel like he hasn't fought a guy this big, this strong, and I feel like Saturday night he's gonna find out too. You know, I trained, tremendously for this fight. I have best conditioning. I feel like in the 172-pound division, my volume punch output, speaks for itself. And I feel like, a lot of people underestimate me, but I feel like Saturday night they won't. Once the bell rings, it's go time, and I come to fight. I come 100%, and I come, especially I come to win. I come to take that belt home.
At this weight division, they've talked a lot about Akhmadaliev, obviously Cool Boy Steph, even Neri, because of his power. Do you believe when you talk about the elite fighters at 122, are they sleeping on Brandon Figueroa? And is Saturday your way of proving that you are the man at 122?
I mean, yes, of course. This game is all about proving yourself in and out of the ring. And I feel like, my hard work speaks for itself. My fights speak for themselves. And I'm just glad I get to share the ring with Luis Nery. We're both, I know he comes to win as well, but I don't think he wants it as bad as I do. And of course, if God willing goes my way, Stephen Fulton is next. That's a fight that I've been wanting for a long time. And I mean, it's time to unify. This is what, if you don't come to boxing to conquer, then what are you boxing for? And this is what I'm about. Come to fight, come to give fans a great show, and I just can't wait Saturday night.
We'll wrap it up with this with you guys. I got the opportunity to speak with Stephen Fulton Jr., who's coming for the fight. Luis, he said if he gets the opportunity to fight you, he can't wait to show you that you're too small and not as powerful as you think you are for this division. Your reply to Cool Boy Steph.
Bueno, mira, vamos a terminar acá con Stephen Fulton, que sabemos que va a estar ahí al lado del ring para verlos pelear. Él dijo que vos sos muy pequeño y que no sos lo poderoso que pensás que sos, y él te lo va a demostrar si llegas a ganar este sábado. ¿Qué tenés para decir sobre eso?
Bueno, yo me concentro primero en lo que tengo enfrente, que es Brandon Figueroa. Una vez que salgamos el sábado con la mano en alto, veamos qué dicen los promotores también, para ver cuándo se hace la pelea, y una vez que se haga esa pelea, bajando del ring le preguntan lo mismo, a ver si piensa lo mismo otra vez.
Well, you know what? First of all, I'm focusing on what I have in front of me right now. That's Brandon Figueroa. And then we'll check with the promoters to see when they want to do the fight. And after that, when we get outside the ring, after I am with my hand raised up high in victory, I'll ask you once again, what you thought about that.
Brandon, Stephen's message to you. We have had a long back and forth. I hope you win Saturday so we can finally settle it in the ring come this September. Your reply to Cool Boy Steph.
That's the fight I've been wanting as well. I know he's been talking a lot, and first of all, I got to get through Luis Nery, and I just can't wait. I just can't wait for these big fights, these big names, world champions, unify. And I feel like I've been trying to fight him for a while, and, now it's going to be made. If everything goes well Saturday night, then he's next, and I just can't wait to put on a show again.
We got some members of the media. I know you guys have questions. We'll start here in the room for guys from here. And let's start with Ellie Sekback, ES News, reporting.
Hey, everyone, how you guys doing? I wanted to know if you can compare your style to a boxer in history. Who do you guys fight like? What was the question?
Esta pregunta es para todos los, for all six of you, para todos los 6 de ustedes, que se comparen con un boxeador de la historia con quien se creen similares. We'll start here with Xavier, and we'll go around here.
I think my style's similar to Diego Corrales' style. His father trains me, so I mean, it's kind of naturally supposed to be like that in a way.
I mean, I don't know who fighter to compare myself with, but like I get a little bit of everybody, so.
Luis, un boxeador de la historia con el que te compares, que te guste imitar.
No es como quererme comparar, pero tengo un estilo similar de Manny Pacquiao.
Not that I want to compare or say that I want to imitate him, but I feel similar to Manny Pacquiao.
I feel like I have a unique style, but definitely I know my dad watched a lot of Salvador Sanchez and he implemented that into my style as well.
Pues yo realmente admiro pues a varios peleadores, pero pues no me comparo con ninguno de ellos. Yo simplemente soy Ricardo Espinosa y pues es mi estilo.
I admire a lot of fighters, but you know what? I don't want to compare myself to any of them. I'm Ricardo Espinosa, and I'm one of a kind.
Bueno, por mi estilo, que soy un boxeador técnico, me gustaría estar al nivel de Ricardo El Finito López, ya que soy un boxeador, mi estilo es técnico.
Well, you know, I have a technical style, and you know, my style is really similar to Lopez, so that's what I like to compare myself to. Next question here.
Frankie Martinez from FightHype.
I just want to get their thoughts on fighting in front of a live crowd. If they saw the Andy Ruiz versus Chris Arreola fight, there was fights amongst the crowds. It was very electric. How do they feel about fighting with the crowd after the pandemic and fighting in quarantine type fights?
Luis, Brandon, Luis, ¿cómo se siente pelear frente al público nuevamente? Brandon, how does it feel to fight in front of fans again?
I'm excited. I mean, as soon as I told friends and family that, you know, there was gonna be fans, they heard about tickets quick. I think it's gonna help all of us probably drive us more, because, you know, fans, I mean, people don't know, but fans, you know, they give us a lot of drive. You know, they make us want to go. So I think it's gonna be an exciting night. It's gonna be a great night of boxing.
Myself, I'm excited. Everything seems to be getting back to normal, and I'm gonna have my fans, my family and friends attending, so I gotta look good.
Luis?
Realmente es lo que todos queremos, pelear con gente, pelear con público. Me tocó pelear en Nueva York, realmente no me gustó pelear sin gente. El público, la familia, los amigos es parte del boxeo, de la sensación que te da y para mí está bien.
Fighting with fans in the stands is what we had all been waiting for. I fought in New York with no fans in the stands, and I did not like that at all. The fans, the family being there, that's all part of the thread of boxing, the way that boxing is supposed to be. So I'm glad that fans are going to be there once again. Brandon?
I mean, yes, of course. I mean, just the boos and ahs, the atmosphere, the people going crazy. I feel like that's what makes boxing more exciting. And not only that, but for us as well, you know, it pumps us up and motivates us to give the best of our ability and, you know, just to go out there and show out, you know, that's the most important thing.
Bueno, pues a mí la verdad me siento pues emocionado, ya que pues ahora va a haber amigos, familia que van a estar ahí apoyando y pues es una gran motivación.
I'm really excited because I'm so happy that my friends and my family are going to be there to support me. That means a lot to me.
Bueno, es algo importante para nosotros los boxeadores, sentir el respaldo de toda esa gente que viene a apoyarnos, y es un placer volver a regresar y pelear en una gran cartelera como la del sábado, y que haya público, pues eso para mí representa mucho, porque el que estén gritando tu nombre, coreando tu nombre, es una gran motivación.
The fact that fans are going to be in the stands means a lot to me because there's nothing like the feeling of fans chanting your name. That's priceless. So I'm really excited for the fight that's going to go on this Saturday, high-profile fight, and we are really happy to have fans in the stands once again. Next question is going to be here from Marcos.
Thank you, Martin. Question is for Daniel Roman. Daniel, what do you make, you being the WBC mandatory, of everybody mentioning a fight between the winner here with Stephen Fulton and not mentioning you? Do you feel disrespected at all?
I do feel disrespected because it seems like they're avoiding me or they're trying to skip me. But I'm still there. I'm still up there, the former unified champion, and give me the respect I deserve.
And a follow-up to that for Luis and Brandon, you know, what do you guys make of a matchup with Daniel Roman, seeing that he's the WBC mandatory?
Bueno, pregunta para Luis y para Brandon. ¿Qué pensarían de una hipotética pelea contra Dani, sabiendo que él es el mandatorio del CMB?
Bueno, es un buen rival, es un rival duro, es un rival respetable. Creo que también es una pelea interesante. Si la gente también la pide, adelante, por mí no hay problema.
Danny is a tough, respectable opponent. I think it will be a great fight, and I will hope that if it does happen, that fans tune in to watch a great fight.
I mean, yeah, of course, that's what I'm about, fighting the best, making sure that, I put my place in the 122-pound division as the best fighter. And I feel like he at one point he was, but, right now, Luis Nery is in front of me, and if everything goes well, then Stephen Fulton, and after that, well, we can decide what goes on from there. But as of right now, I respect him as a fighter. He's a great fighter, and, we'll see what happens from there.
Does anybody else in this room wants the mic, or we go on to questions via Zoom?
Yes, so now what we'll do is we'll go to the Zoom. I know there's members of the media who have some questions for the fighters. Chris de Palacio, who of course our VP of Showtime Sports, will acknowledge you. Just hit the raise your hand icon and he will acknowledge you and allow you to ask your question. Chris?
Thank you, Brian. Do a little mic check here. Brian, you can hear me, correct?
Got you loud and clear.
Very good. All right, we're going to start. We have several questions here with Jim Conlon. Jim will ask you to unmute, and we'll ask all the press to be sure you direct your questions specifically to each fighter, since we have all 6 guys up on stage. So, Jim, go ahead.
Hi, my question is for Luis. Luis, a fantastic record there, 34 unbeaten. For you, in terms of legacy, do you think at this stage of your career, you need that type of Eric Morales, Marco Antonio Barrera type fight, type trilogy, maybe to catapult you to that legacy sort of status that all fighters dream of?
Bueno, Luis, esta pregunta es sobre tu legado y de si sentís que necesitas algo al estilo de Eric Morales o de Marco Antonio Barrera, una trilogía o algo así que te deje inmortalizado en la historia del boxeo mexicano y mundial.
Claro que sí. Quizás y no voy a llegar a subir a la 122, me gustaría hacer una pelea con él y depende del resultado, otra, quizás 3. Será una buena trilogía contra Inoue.
Of course, yeah, the trilogy idea will be a great one, and and then if I were to change divisions, something like that, then I would love to fight against really anybody. But as far as my legacy, I'm up for anything.
And my last question for Brandon, going into this fight as well, coming in with 21 sort of wins to your name and obviously a high knockout percentage. Do you aim to go out really at a high intensity from the start in the opening rounds and really push the pace and see if Luis can live with that pace?
I mean, yes, of course, that's what I bring, exciting fights. I bring the pressure. And I feel like, I'm the type of fighter that brings a lot of excitement to the fight, a lot of volume of punches, and Saturday night, you guys will see that as well.
Best of luck to both fighters.
Thank you.
Next question.
Next question, Chris.
Yes, we are going to Ernesto Amador. Sorry, I was on mute myself there. Ernesto, go ahead.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Hello, everyone. Una pregunta para Neri y una pregunta para Figueroa. La primera para Neri. Pantera, con el gusto de saludarte. Me parece que mucho sector de la prensa no está respetando tu carrera y han dicho que no tienes poder en 122 y demás. ¿Cómo piensas cobrarte esto? ¿Para ti es una motivación? Porque siento que no están respetando tu carrera.
Luis, one second, let me translate that question for the English-speaking audience. Well, the question is that people seem to be disrespecting you in the fact that they say that you have no power for the 122-pound division. How do you feel about that?
Bueno, realmente si estoy en la 122 es por algo. Si ellos no lo respetan o no lo ven así, pues creo que es problema de ellos, de la prensa, pero yo estoy aquí por algo, estoy en la 122, por algo subí, ya hice una pelea contra una Alameda, me sentí bien, me sentí un poco lento porque tenía casi 1 año y medio sin pelear. Ahora es diferente, ya peleé, estoy entrenando otra vez con Ismael Ramírez, me siento fuerte, me siento mejor para esta pelea contra Brandon Figueroa. Además, el estilo de Brandon se acopla al mío. Va a ser un poco más fácil para mí esta pelea que la otra, quizá.
I'm on the 122-pound division for a reason. If the media doesn't want to respect my power, that's their problem. When I fought against Arnaldo Almeida, I felt good. You know, it was the 18-month hiatus that had me a little maybe stiff. But Brandon Figueroa's style really goes well with what I want to do, and it's really everything for me that I know I'm capable of achieving everything I want in this division.
El estilo de Figueroa se acomoda más a mí que el de Alameda.
Of course, that Brandon Figueroa style, it goes better for my way of fighting than Aaron Alameda's was when I fought him.
Ahora la pregunta para Figueroa. Hola, Brandon, te saludo con gusto también. Tú también estás del lado de alguna parte de la prensa que dice que Luis no tendría oportunidad en 122. Él respeta mucho tu estilo. ¿Tú qué tanto respetas la pegada, el poder de un invicto con 31-0, 24 knockouts? Y seguramente tienes muy presente que no puedes confiarte un solo segundo ante el campeón mundial del Consejo Mundial de Boxeo.
Brandon, how much do you respect Luis's power, someone that's 31-0 with 24 knockouts, and you know that you can't let your guard down for a single second?
No, yes, of course. I know Luis Nery comes to fight. He's a strong fighter at the 118-pound division. And, you know, at the 122, it's a different story. But I feel like, you know, we're just going to have to find out Saturday tonight. You know, I come forward, I put the pressure, and I'm definitely gonna bring the power, the size, the advantages, and I'm going to make sure that, you know, we give the fans a great show. But, yeah, obviously, you know, I do respect him as a fighter. And like I said, we're just going to have to find out Saturday night.
Gracias. Thank you.
Ernesto, thank you for the questions. Martine Bader, great job on the translation for the question and answer. Let's go next to Adrian Sarabia. Adrian is with the Herald out of Mexico. You can unmute and go ahead.
¿Me escuchan? ¿Ahí me escuchan? Perdón.
Sí, te escuchamos bien. Adelante.
Ok, perfecto, gracias. Adrián Sarabia para el Heraldo de México. Para Luis Nery, nada más, ahorita mencionaste que no fue una buena preparación con Eddie Reynoso. Lo has aclarado infinidad de veces, ¿no? ¿Qué fue lo que pasó ahí? Pero, ¿qué es lo que va a cambiar ahora con tu entrenador que ha estado toda tu carrera con Ismael Ramírez de ahora en adelante? ¿Y qué fue lo que no fue para ti una buena preparación con Eddie?
Luis, you have mentioned 1,000 times how what happened with Eddie Reynoso and the way that the preparation went with him, but now you're with Ismael Ramirez, with your trainer. How do you feel under his wing and with your preparation?
No va a cambiar nada, solo van a ver al mismo peleador antes que miraron antes de que agarra con Eddie Reynoso, es todo.
Nothing is really going to change. The only thing that's going to change is that you're going to see the Luis Nery that you used to see before I trained under Eddie Reynoso.
Gracias, saludos.
Okay, great. All right, we're going to go next to Steve Brooks with The Pugilist. Steve, if you can unmute, go ahead. Steve Brooks, we'll give you one more try. Unmute your line and go ahead.
Oh, hi, Danny. You okay?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Oh, sorry about that.
No problem. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Danny. Basically, you know, you must overcome Espinosa to remain in, championship contention. As I'm sure you want your title shot sooner rather than later, I'm sure. How can you see it going Saturday via Mexican fighter? Especially how they've done recently with Lara beating Josh Warrington and Straffon beating James Tennyson the other week.
Sorry, who was the question for?
Danny Roman.
Danny, the question was for you.
Well, can you repeat the question again and maybe step back away from the mic? You sound overmodulated, so can you repeat the question?
Yeah, sure. Sorry, it's the first time I'm using it on the iPhone now. Yeah, obviously, Danny, you know, you must overcome Espinosa to remain in championship contention. You know, as I'm sure you'll want your title shot sooner rather than later, I'm sure. How can you actually see it going Saturday night via Mexican fighter? I mean, obviously, recently, you know, with Lara beating Josh Warrington, Straffon beating James Tennyson. So there's been quite a few upsets recently.
So it sounds like he says, obviously, you want a title fight. You're fighting Espinosa. There's been a number of upsets. How do you not overlook
Showtime?
Oh no, I'm not overlooking Ricardo Espinosa. I know he's a great fighter. He got power. So I'm taking this fight like if I was fighting another champion. Not taking lightly. I know what he could do, and I know anything can happen inside the ring. So I'm 100% focused on my opponent right now. That's in front of me. That's Ricardo Espinosa.
All right. Thank you, Steve. We're going to go to our just two more questions here. We have Michael Rueda. Michael, unmute and go ahead.
Thank you. This question is going to be for Danny, the first one. Danny, obviously, you have the rest of the champions up there, and they're talking about Stephen Fulton for after. What's your main thing that you're looking to do come Saturday night just to get, maybe Stephen Fulton out of the fans' minds and onto you as the next opponent?
Oh, well, first, everything goes good on Saturday night, I'm trying to make a statement. I'll let all the champions know that I'm still there. I'm still at the championship level to challenge them, and I'm just waiting for the opportunity to fight for a title.
Okay, and then this last one, whoever wants to answer it, any of the fighters, I'll ask in Spanish as well. This is a big month in boxing. There's been a fight essentially every weekend in May. What are you guys going to do, to try to be the one fighter that they speak about that, through this big month? Este mes en mayo ha sido un mes muy grande por el boxeo. ¿Qué quieren hacer este sábado para que cuando se acabe el mes están hablando de ustedes mejor de cualquier otro peleador que ha ganado en este mes?
We'll go with Luis.
Luis.
Disculpa, no entendí la pregunta.
La pregunta es que en este mes van a haber peleas muy destacadas. ¿Qué piensas que debes hacer vos para que esta pelea se destaque más que ninguna?
Bueno, pues tenemos que hacer una gran pelea y no dudo que sea así. Brandon es un gran peleador, también yo. Somos peleadores de choque. Realmente va a ser una guerra desde el primer round. Creo que toda la gente que está aquí, la gente que está esperando la pelea lo sabe. Entonces, solo con subirnos al ring, hacer nuestro trabajo, esta pelea va a ser hablada por todo el año.
All we need to do to stand out in the month of May is to put up a great fight. And Brandon is a great opponent. We are going to have an all-out war since the first round, and people are going to be talking about it not only in the month of May, but for the rest of the year to come.
Brandon, get your thoughts on that too. This venue has produced some great fights. Marquez, Vasquez, you can go on and on and on. Your thoughts on not only fighting at this venue, but some of the fights that we've seen this month.
I feel the same way. I feel like this fight can be fight of the year, and definitely is going to be talked about it because I come with everything. I know everything's on the line, and I'm gonna make sure that I go out there and give it my all. And if I'm gonna give it my all, then it's gonna be a great fight.
Thank you, guys, and good luck to all of you. Buena suerte a todos.
Okay, guys, our last question will come from Carlos Toro. Carlos, please go ahead.
Thanks everyone for taking time to talk to us. First question to you, Xavier Martinez. Earlier you were talking about learning from that Claudio Morero fight in that 8th round where you got dropped a couple of times. When you look back on that fight, do you sort of look at yourself now as a fighter, having learned from that experience and the win against Claudio? Now you're going up against Juan Carlos Burgos. You feel like you're now kind of coming into your own as a complete fighter, and they'll say win put you into that title contention at 130.
Yeah, I feel like this is boxing. I feel like in order for you to find out if you're made for this sport, sometimes you got to go through adversity. And I feel like since going through that, I learned a lot about myself, and I learned that I could be put through any situation because getting knocked down 2 times, that's hard to come back from. That could defeat a fighter mentally, especially a young coming up fighter. So I learned a lot from that fight. I'm excited to fight Burgos because I know he's gonna bring it. But I learned a lot from that fight, and it helped me to become a more mature fighter. And after this fight, I hope I'll be in the 130-pound championship contention, and I hope to have a world title after this fight.
Quick question for Juan Carlos Burgos. You've challenged for a title multiple times throughout your career, and you've talked about how you want to still be at that spot where you want to challenge and fight for a world title and have big fights. Do you look at this fight at this stage of your career as that one, as where a loss could put you in a spot where it might be too difficult to overcome and maybe lose out on those big fights and title opportunity for the rest of your career?
Si sentís que esta es tu última gran oportunidad, que una derrota en esta pelea te pondría demasiado lejos de volver a pelear por un título.
Sí, esta es una pelea sumamente importante para mí. Sé que no va a ser nada fácil. Enfrente voy a tener a un gran peleador como Javier Martínez y vengo listo y preparado para demostrar que Juan Carlos Burgos todavía tiene ingredientes para hacer mejores y grandes cosas en este momento.
This is definitely a big fight for me, and I'm going to have a great opponent in front of me like Xavier Martinez, but I feel like I have a lot to give still, and I want to show that Juan Carlos Burgos is here to stay, and I have a lot to give still.
Thanks, everyone. Best of luck this Saturday.
Okay, thank you, Carlos, and thank you, Brian. That's all the questions we have remotely. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Well, folks, thank you very much. Listen, I said it at the top, you know, Showtime is happy because this coming Saturday, we kick off really a hot spring and summer of high stakes world title fights. And it all starts this Saturday at Dignity Health Sports Park, 10 p.m. Eastern. That is 7 o'clock Pacific time. It is promoted by TGB Promotions. And you've got a two-division champ, Luis Nery, taking on the unbeaten Brandon Figueroa, two unbeaten fighters going at it. Of course, the winner is slated to face Stephen Fulton Jr. in a unification fight later this year. And then the co-main, you've got the former unified champ, Danny Roman, taking on the hard-hitting Ricardo Espinosa. And then we begin the night with the unbeaten Xavier Martinez taking on Juan Carlos Burgos. It will be an exciting night at the Dignity Health Sports Park, which will be hosting the 50th world title fight, and it will be the 6th time that the WBC Super Bantamweight title has been on the line. It should be a magical night. We hope that you watch everything on Showtime. And with that, we'll wrap up this press conference, and guys, we'll face off, okay? Start with the first fight of the night? Yes, first fight. Let's start with the first fight of the night. And Xavier Martinez, Juan Carlos Burgos.
You can pull your mask down. Have you right here. Have you right here. Basically lined up in their chest.
Sin la máscara, Juan Carlos.
Yeah, can you guys take them all the way up?
Martinez, 16-0, 11 knockouts. Juan Carlos Burgos, 34, 4-2, 21 knockouts. And he, of course, has fought for the world title 3 times in his career. This will be the opening fight of the night when Showtime opens the broadcast.
And then we got you guys face the front.
10 rounds.
You're looking right at that.
Right back here.
All right, excellent. Thank you, guys.
The co-main.
Same thing, Danny. You lined up right against your chair. So you lined up right.
Danny Roman, the babyface assassin, 27, 3-1, 9 knockouts.
Yeah, guys. Luis and Brandon, thank you.
Taking on Ricardo Espinosa, 25-3 with 21 knockouts.
Do you want to do the first fight again? Yeah.
Can I have a face forward?
Face forward, yeah. Cool. All right, we can do main event. I got you. Lined up in your chairs. Hands off.
Now the main event. Brandon Figueroa, a heartbreaker, 21-0-1, 16 knockouts, taking on Luis Nery, 31-0, 24 knockouts. Neri now a two-division champ and the WBC super bantamweight champion as well. High stakes fight considering the winner of this fight fights for unification against Stephen Fulton Jr. Group shot, get everybody. Great job, guys. I was trying to understand what he was trying to say. I'm like, is he British? I can't understand what that accent was. I tried my best to get.